Hello and welcome to the Monroe Mythic Clancast. I am Jason Monroe. This is episode 137. Life is for living. Do you know, that phrase holds so many people back from actually fucking living. So this came up last week inside the Monroe Method community. Somebody posted asking a question about a night out. Talking about the calories involved. There was lots and lots and lots to unpack. Like, the base of it was, I went out for dinner with friends on a Friday night. I had 3 pina coladas and a pizza. And then she just wanted reassurance, talking about food guilt, but I did lots of exercise during the week, so that should be okay. So then we're talking about compensatory behaviours. Looking for justification to eat and drink not necessarily eat and drink to excess, but certainly to consume to excess. And one of the comments under it was, well, did you have a good time? Life is for living. And it is, life is for living. But most people that use that phrase are not living. They're using it to try and make themselves feel better about what they're doing. So I didn't actually really want to dive into this specific thing too much, but just so that you know, like, pina coladas are one of the most calorific cocktails that exist. I had a client, I've told this story before, but I had a client who went away for 3 weeks on a 5-star plus, ridiculously luxurious all-inclusive, and they had a pina colada self-service slushy machine. And she gained 1.5 stone of body fat over 3 weeks because she was an inexperienced drinker and had no idea that these cocktails were 500 calories each. Do you know what? I'll tell that story as well, because it's actually super appropriate. So we'll begin with this, right? I had a client a few years ago now who lost weight very slowly. She had a couple of challenging things. She was tiny, very short, very petite, and it was a grind for her to lose weight. And we basically spent, 4-5 months losing around 20 odd pounds. And she always complained about how slow it was, how long it was taking, but we got there. And it was all ahead of this super duper luxurious 5-star plus all-inclusive 3-week holiday. I think it was in something like Turkey. I think it was Turkey or Greece. But anyway, we did so much work before it. We talked a lot about the way she was going to navigate the food. And throughout the entire time, she kept telling me alcohol wasn't a problem. I don't drink alcohol. I might have one drink of something while I'm there, like something local to try, but that's it. I don't like alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. So we never spoke about it. So she was an inexperienced drinker. Because she didn't drink, she had no idea about the calories and things. She understood that alcohol had calories, but she was very naive to it. And so she went away on holiday for 3 weeks in this luxury resort, all-inclusive, and she came back 2 stone heavier. 2 full stone heavier. Now, when you come back from a holiday, the weight that you are when you get back is not a holiday gain, because especially with the people I work with. So if I'm helping someone lose weight before a holiday, before they go on holiday, they're going to have a new low weight. And that is their lowest weight in a calorie deficit. When you come back from a holiday, you are not at your lowest weight in a calorie deficit. You're at your highest weight in a calorie surplus. You've also been traveling. You've been in different temperatures. There's lots of things contributing to your weight. So we never, and you should never, step on the scales after a holiday and say, oh, I've gained 10 pounds, or in this case, 28 pounds. Because you cannot compare, it's not a fair comparison. You can't compare your lowest possible weight while eating less calories in a calorie-controlled diet to your highest possible weight after eating and drinking on holiday for 7, 14, or in this case, 21 days. So there was a big panic. I'm like, this must all be water weight. You must be retaining a heap of water This can't be right. Get back into your calorie deficit, because it was the biggest number I had ever heard of from anyone coming back on holiday. So I said, let's get straight back into your calorie deficit. Let's watch your weight tumble down and we'll see where we are after a week, right? Because then we can compare lowest weight in a calorie deficit before holiday to lowest weight in a calorie deficit after holiday. So she got into her calorie deficit, and as expected, her weight came tumbling down every day, and then it stops. And when it stops, you have now reached your deficit weight again. So by the end of that first week, her weight had come down by 7 or 8 pounds. And what we're left with is fat gain. She had gained 21 pounds of body fat over a 3-week period. Now, you might think that sounds ridiculous. How on earth can somebody gain that amount in such a short space of time? If you've listened to these podcasts for any length of time, you will understand that weight gain has absolutely no speed limit. Weight loss has a speed limit. Remember, you are limited by your calorie capacity. If you burn 2,000 calories in a day, then what's the lowest amount you can eat? Whatever the lowest amount you can eat is, the distance between how much you're eating and how much you're burning determines the pace. Most people are only capable of losing a pound, maybe 1.5 pounds a week. People who are carrying higher levels of body fat, who have higher calorie burns and more scope to reduce their calorie intake, they might expect to lose 2 pounds a week. Then there's the outliers who might lose a little bit more than that. But for the most part, most people should expect to lose somewhere between 1 pound to 1.5 pounds a week. However, this person, over 3 weeks, had gained 21 pounds, basically 1 pound a day. So what does it take to gain 1 pound a day? Well, hopefully you know by now there are around 3,500 calories in 1 pound of fat. She burned around 1,700 calories a day. So what she had to do was add 3,500 on top of that, on average, every day, putting an extra 3,500 calories into her body. Those calories had nowhere to go because she wasn't using them, and so they had to very quickly be stored as body fat. So we had a chat, and the thing is, she felt so good about the way she navigated food on holiday. She was over the moon with her eating habits. She ate when she was hungry. She stopped eating when she started to feel full. Because it was an all-inclusive, the food, there was lots of a la carte restaurants, but there was also lots of buffet-style restaurants. Her plates were always half filled with salad. Her mains were always half filled with vegetables. Like, she was focusing on protein and fibre. She was delighted with the way that she ate on holiday. She felt like it was easy. All-inclusives are easy. You don't have to prep salad or cook vegetables. It's all there, laid out. Easy to pick, easy to put a good plate of food together. So where the fuck did all this weight come from? And this is when she went away and she came back and she said, so I've just had a look on the website, the hotel website, and what I didn't mention before was when we got there, we discovered that there was a couple of bars. There was also a swim-up bar that had self-serve slushy machines, and these slushy machines had alcohol in them, so every day there was cocktails, but the one in particular that she tried and loved on day one, because her friend encouraged her to, because her friend's like, oh, this is amazing, you should try this. Oh, that's nice, I'll get one. Pina colada slushies. And she told me I was having up to 10 of those a day. Now, they had alcohol in them, but it wasn't a massive amount. She was drinking them very slowly. They were melting very quickly. But she didn't do much on holiday. She had a high pressure job. She was going on holiday to lie by a pool, read her Kindle, and do absolutely nothing other than soak up the sun and relax and decompress. And like I said, she was drinking these slushies, which were, when she checked the hotel website, I think the medium-sized one was 350, the large one was like 500 calories. Now remember what I just said? She said she was having up to 10 of them a day, 5,000 calories, just from cocktails You've got all her food to put on top of that. So you can see, this is what I mean about weight gain having no speed limit. There is absolutely no limit to the number of calories you can consume. Even if her eating habits were great and she was having a couple of thousand, like we expected her to gain weight on holiday, of course. She was, like I said, she was very small. She had very low energy needs, but she was about to go on a luxury holiday with food on offer 24/7. Of course she was going to gain weight. We fully expected her to come back 3, 4, maybe 5 pounds heavier because it was a 3-week holiday. Didn't expect what happened. So there were days where she was putting 7,000 or 8,000 calories into a body that only needed 1,700. And by the time we ran all these numbers and I laid all this, and this is what I was saying, she checked the website, she found out how many calories were in the slushies that she was having, and this is where the admission came from. There was one day I had 10 of them on top of food. And they weren't really getting her drunk. That's the thing that annoyed her. She was like, I don't like getting drunk. I didn't feel like I was getting drunk on them. I know 10 sounds like a lot, but if you're lying by the pool from 6 a.m. till whatever o'clock at night, and you're drinking one of those every hour and a half, you're going to metabolize that. You're not going to feel drunk at any point. Might feel a bit merry, but yeah. So the thing that caught her out was the thing that she didn't think was going to be an issue. So anyway, back to the point. This person in the group went out at the weekend, Friday night, pizza, 3, not margaritas, pina coladas. Did I say margaritas at some point? Sorry, if I did, I meant pina coladas. Don't know why margarita's on my mind. Maybe I didn't say it. Anyway, pina colada, coconut, milk, pineapple juice. The coconut milk is where the majority of the calories come from. It's high fat. Pineapple juice is the second one. Sometimes you put some kind of syrup in it. Is it rum that's in it? I can't remember. But anyway, super, super calorific. So my client had 3 of these at the weekend plus a pizza. So that's easily, let's call it 2,000 calories for the pizza. And we'll call it 1,500 for the cocktails. So 3,500. And that's if she didn't have anything else. We didn't chat about it, but if she had a side, if she shared things with other people, if she had another couple of drinks in between the cocktails, that was easily a 4,000 plus calorie evening. So the discussion that we had was, why does a meal out have to equate to you, who burns, I think, somewhere around 2,100, 2,200 calories a day? Why do you have to put over 4,000 calories through your body to enjoy yourself? And that was just dinner, by the way. She also had breakfast, she also had lunch, she also had other things in between earlier on in the day when she was hungry. So that day could have been a 5,000 or 6,000 calorie day. 3 days worth of food going into that body on one day. And when she posted, she's looking for reassurance. She's trying to alleviate the guilt that she's experiencing. But it's not about reassurance or guilt. It's about, well, why did you need to do that? That's what it's about. It's not about trying to make yourself feel better. It's not about restricting yourself afterwards. It's not about trying to look for ways to say, well, maybe it's not that bad because I did this much exercise during the week, doing whatever you can to kind of soften the blow. You have to strip all that back and come to the point where it's, what is the purpose of you putting 6,000 plus calories through a body that needs a third of that amount? What's the purpose of it? Why did you need to do it? Why did you want to do it? Oh, well, and these are just the questions that we ask, right? Because they're not the questions that anybody ever asks themselves. And I wrote a daily post this week about it, saying, why does enjoyment have to come with a high price tag? Why does a night out have to cost 4,000 calories? And the reason that I ask these kind of blunt to the point questions and challenge these thought processes, it's not about making people feel bad. Like I've just said, it's not about making yourself feel bad. It's not about guilt. It's not about shame. the way that I do everything inside the Monroe method, it's not about, oh, well, you shouldn't have done that because now you're not going to lose weight. It's, well, that's something that you've always done. That's your idea of a night out. When you go on a night out, this is what you do. You have the cocktails, you have the meal, and you have 4,000 or 5,000 calories when you only need a fraction of that amount. And if that's something that you do all the time, then it's part of the reason your weight is where it is. And if we want you to not just lose weight short term, but go on to maintain your new lower weight long term, you have to ask yourself the question, is this a behaviour that I can carry into my new lifestyle? Remember, the things that took you to 15 stone are not going to take you to 10 stone. You have to decide what's going to help you get to where you want to be and stay there. If somebody's drinking a bottle of wine every night on Friday and Saturday, and that's part of the reason why their weight is where it is, then it's not going to be a part of the solution, it's a part of the cause. I think one of the biggest challenges is people's approach to their weight is they don't care how they lose it, they just want to lose it, and then when they get to the weight that they want to be, they just want to hope for the best. They cross their finger and hope it sticks. Hopefully, I'll be able to carry on the same way I always have, but this time my weight won't go up. It doesn't work like that. The things that are a part of the problem will not be a part of the solution. If alcohol is a part of the problem, it's not going to help you. If ordering multiple takeaways per week is part of the problem, it's not going to be part of the solution. So we need to understand that there are areas of our life that we need to change and address. Like the way that you socialise will have to change. The way that you approach takeaways will have to change. So in that situation, what might change? Well, she now understands that she does not have a body that she can put 4,500 calories through in a single meal, right? That's part of the reason that she gained weight in the first place. If that's something that she wants to continue doing, then she has to accept that she's never going to get to the weight that she wants to be. And even if she does manage to get there, she'll never stay there. Remember, if you've listened to that episode way back when, 12 stone lifestyle, 9 stone body, your weight goes to where it goes because of your lifestyle. You don't want the weight, but you want to keep the lifestyle. You can't keep the lifestyle and make it lead to a different weight. The way that you're living, eating, drinking, thinking, doing, whatever it is, your weight is where it is because of that. So what might she have done differently? Well, she could have had 1 pina colada, half the pizza, and a side salad on the other half of the plate. The pizza comes down to 1,000 calories, the cocktail's 500 calories, and if she made some adjustments earlier in the day because she knew that the majority of her calorie needs were going to be met later on in the evening, for example, she skipped breakfast and had a light lunch, or she had a big breakfast, skipped lunch and saved herself for dinner, then she's probably never going to meet her body's needs. You're never going to make that day land on 2,000 calories. But it doesn't need to land on 6,000 calories. So we make adjustments. And it's these adjustments, if every night out means you're having 5,000 or 6,000 calories and you are currently 15 stone, because that's a big part of that, because you do it every weekend or every second weekend, then if you reduce that habit by 50%, right? Bring it down to 2,500 calories. Yes, it's more calories than you need, but it's a massive reduction. So that side of the contribution to your weight would reduce. Remember, everything, and this is what we talk about on day 2 inside the Monroe method. We talk about food attachments. Every single thing that you eat, drink, do, think, anything that puts calories through your body is responsible for your weight. It is never any one thing. It's not the takeaways. It's not the alcohol. It's not the snacks. It's not chocolate. It's not crisps. It's all of them. Your 3 takeaways per week might be responsible for 12 pounds of the weight that you're currently carrying on your body. because you over-order, you clear every plate, you save some for breakfast the next day, you make sure it's all eaten because you don't want to waste money. Whatever your thought process around that is. Alcohol might be responsible for 15 pounds of your weight because you drink 2 bottles of wine every weekend, which leads to the crisps coming out, which leads to more takeaways being ordered, which leads to hangovers where you just vegetate on the couch for the weekend. Snacking, excessive snacking might be responsible for 10 pounds of the weight you're carrying. So everything that you do is responsible for a piece of the weight you're carrying that you don't want to carry. So losing weight is not just about what's the number of calories I need to stick to make my weight come down. It's why did my weight get here in the first place? And this circles back to the whole life is for living thing. If you think living life is about eating to excess, drinking to excess, like if you think that's living, if that's your attitude about what living a good life means, stuffing yourself with thousands of calories, taking your weight to a place that makes you miserable, then you need to have a long, hard think about what living truly means to you. God, I used to think living was going out at the weekends and getting drunk. Jesus Christ. Then you stop drinking alcohol and realise what living really feels like. We all have these very warped ideas, and this was a great talking point inside the community where someone said, "Oh, life's for living." It is for living, but are you enjoying being 12 stone, 13, 14, 15, 18, whatever weight you are? Do you feel like you're living? Do you feel like you're living when you're rolling about the couch on a Sunday with a hangover? Snacking, napping, waiting on the, counting down the minutes till the Chinese opens? Do you feel like you're living after that meal out when you wake up feeling bloated and sluggish and tired? And you can barely get out of bed in the morning because you're still so full from the night before? That's not living. Waking up every day feeling miserable, hating the idea of going clothes shopping, trying outfits on, deleting all the pictures at the end of a night out or a family day out because you don't like how you look in them. That's not living. And the problem is we allow other people to tell us what living should be. And I can look back on this now at nearly 40 years of age and realise that that's what I did for most of my life. Going to pubs, clubbing, going out with people, it was never my thing. Never. But it's what I thought you were supposed to do. It was what all my friends did. And so I drank. Then when I drank, it made it easier to go along and do those things, to make it feel like I was having a good time. I don't regret those years, but I wish I'd figured it all out a lot sooner. And you need to figure it out sooner. You need to figure out what living truly means to you, not someone else, not anyone else's version of living. Because when we adopt other people's versions of living, when we take on other people's habits, the way that other people do things, like we're then taking on that, we're allowing them to have a portion of responsibility for our weight. I had a discussion yesterday with someone who, her husband works abroad. He's coming home soon, and when he comes home, it's party time, basically. I've worked with hundreds of women over the years whose husbands work abroad or away from home or offshore. And when they go away for those 3 weeks and come back for their 3 weeks, it's like a 3-week holiday. They've been on an oil rig for 3 weeks. Your wife hasn't. She's been at home. But when you come home, it's like, I've been on an oil rig for 3 weeks. Let's go out for dinner every single night. Let's go on holiday. Let's do this. Let's drink all the time. And it's very challenging because you've been comfort eating for 3 weeks because you've been lonely because he's away. Or if you've got kids, you've been super stressed because everything's left to you. You're working as well. You've got kids to look after. You've got a house to run. You've got everything to do. So during the 3 weeks he's been away, it's not like you've not been eating much because you've not been cooking as much. You've been comfort eating through stress or loneliness or emotional eating. And then he comes back and all he wants to do is go to Tesco and clear the shelves out of alcohol and start ordering takeaways and going out for dinners, which is lovely, but it's not helping you, is it? So, coming back to this. So this person, now that we've had this chat and I've said, look, you went out, this is what you did, here's how many calories you probably consumed that day. Do you need to do that? I talk about this a lot with clients, where if you eat one slice of pizza or the entire pizza, you've still had pizza. People often come to me and say, oh, I want to lose weight, but I don't want to feel like I'm missing out. And I know we spoke about this many times before, but it all comes down to scale. It's all scale, the scale at which you want to do things. When I was younger, I used to fend for myself. I fended for myself for an early age, actually. I used to come home from lunch from school, cook for myself. This was high school, 11, 12, 13. No, not 11. 11 would be P6. 12 would be P7. Okay, 13, 14. Coming home from school and making myself lunch. Beans and toast was a popular one. So was rolls and sausage. Whatever. Toast and ravioli. Toast and spaghetti. Toast and beans. Anything that I could make toast and butter with and it came out of a tin. That's what I ate. Fended for myself. Then that continued. Anyway, I would quite regularly take a Chicago Town deep pan base pizza, throw it in the oven for 20 minutes, and that was my dinner. My idea of pizza had always been eating a whole pizza. And my idea of pizza carried on with me from a teenager into later life. If you ordered a takeaway, you didn't order a pizza and share it with someone. You ordered it and it was yours. That was your pizza because you always finished a pizza. And that, without even realizing, that was my attitude to that specific thing. We create habits around things. If I ever ordered a Chinese, I didn't, lay all the containers out on the kitchen worktop, put a portion of rice on my plate and then half of my mixed satay on the plate. It was the whole rice container, the whole satay container, and it was all on the plate, and you ate the full thing because it cost £8. And of course you were going to eat it. And it was just a default behaviour. But once I realised that these default behaviours were the reason that my weight got to where it was, then it's okay. If these things are a part of the problem, they're not going to be a part of the solution. So, it's not just I need to make my weight go to a number. It's I need to stop my weight going back to a number. So let's look at the areas of my life that keep taking my weight back to 15 stone. And that's why now, if I was to eat a pizza or order a pizza, half the pizza would be on my plate. A bag of salad. When I say a bag of salad, I don't prep salad. I always buy the Aldi mixed salad. It's like carrot, red cabbage and lettuce. The kind of mixture. I just buy bags of that, and half a bag of that gets dumped on one side of the plate with some cucumber and tomato. And the pizza would go on the other half. That's one of my new things. Takeaways, Chinese, Indian. It's no longer put the entire thing on the plate and eat the entire thing. It's put half of the stuff out, eat it, and if you want more, you can go back and get more. It's no longer clearing every plate that's put in front of you. It's slowing down, taking your time, stopping eating when you start to feel full. So I agree, life is absolutely for living. But using your body as a calorie filtration machine and extracting those calories and putting on body weight and reaching levels of weight that you're uncomfortable with, you're unhappy with, that upset you, that's not living. Absolutely not. It feels like living at the time, but it doesn't feel like living afterwards. Oh, one last story, actually. I didn't get to this. And this is the story I told earlier as well to the people in the community, where I once had a client who I had to ban from the Monroe method. And I mean that in the most pleasant way. She had left, and this is one of the reasons I introduced the 9-month cool-down policy, because she kept cancelling and coming back every couple of months. I didn't have a way of controlling that. Like, there was no way for me, like, the way that I did things, and even now, the way that I do things, there is no way for me to physically stop someone signing up and coming back in. And this is why I did eventually come up with the cool down policy, where it was like, if you cancel your membership, at the end of your membership, you cannot come back for 9 months. Which is basically, that's one of my ways of stopping people trying to use the Monroe method as a yo-yo diet. So for example, we're coming up to summer. If somebody says, oh, I'm going to cancel my membership for a month because I'm going to go on holiday and I'll come back and sign up again to deal with it on the other side. No, that's what people do at Slimming World. You're not doing that here. Because all I can do is try my very best to not allow people to abuse what I do as a yo-yo diet. Otherwise, it doesn't work. What I do does not work. You cannot come in, use it to lose weight and not do all the important stuff, because then you won't do the thing that I'm trying to help you to do, which is reach your weight and stay there, reach your goal weight and stay there. So anyway, this person left and rejoined multiple times. And it was the same story every single time. She would go away, her weight would go back up to 18 stone. She would come in upset, miserable. I've just been sitting crying, looking in the mirror, wondering how I allowed myself to get here. And then she would crack on for 4, 6, 8 weeks, make great progress, but then she'd disappear for 2 or 3 weeks. And she'd come back and she'd put back on like 8 pounds. And then it was always the same story. Oh, I feel too restricted. I start doing really well and my weight comes down, but then I can't go. She was quite young, 20s. All her friends are going out a lot. And she felt like she was missing out. She wanted to go out drinking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night, like I did in my 20s. Christ, every night of the week. There was somewhere you could go apart from a Monday night. But every other night of the week, there was some kind of club night on, or pub night on. Tuesday, pub quiz. Wednesday, through to Dunfermline. Thursday, a nightclub in Falkirk was open on a Thursday. Friday, Manakee. Saturday, back to Rosie's or down to the Martel. Like, there was always somewhere to go. And this was the life she wanted to live. But the thing, like I've just said, the life that she wanted to live was the reason she was 18 stone. Part of the reason she was 18 stone. But she didn't want to not live it anymore. And this was the big fucking challenge that I had. I had all these conversations saying, look, and this is where the whole, 12 stone lifestyle, 9 stone body comes from. This person wanted to live like an 18 stone version of herself. She wanted to drink to excess. She wanted to go out and drink alcohol multiple times per week, which led to her being hungover, which led to takeaways and lots of snacking. Like, alcohol for her was a huge part of the problem. But she wanted to lose weight, and she did not want to make any changes, basically. She knew she was miserable. She always spoke about how she stuck out among her friends because she was tall, but she was also the biggest. It made her really sad. It made her really down. My friends are all pretty. I can never find anything to wear. And she had so many high-value reasons for wanting to change. And yet, her social life, she was not willing to make any changes to it because she experienced far too much FOMO. Now, I worked with her about 5 years ago. She's probably in her 30s now. And it makes me wonder, has she matured a bit? Has she changed a bit? Did her friends start settling down? Have they had babies? Have they started getting married? And now, or maybe she has. And now socializing isn't important. It's not something that everybody's doing anymore. And yet she's probably still paying the price for it. Her weight's probably close to where it was. Because she's never truly addressed the reasons behind why she wanted to lose weight. But it's, and the point there was, the thing that she kept telling herself, like, she would get so far with her weight, but then she would tell herself that life was for living. And she felt like she was missing out on life because she was not going out eating and drinking to excess when her friends were. So, dog, go and hurry up. Fraser, come. He's hiding from me like he's in trouble because I'm standing looking at him. Life is for living, but you really need to change your justification, not your justification, your idea, not the word I wanted, but you really need to change your idea of living. Like, what does living mean to you? Does it mean eating to excess, drinking to excess, being hungover every weekend, not getting much done? Like, is that a life? Is that living? Is looking in the mirror and feeling upset and miserable living? Is hating going clothes shopping because every time you go, your dress size is up and it depresses you? Do you hate getting dressed? Do you dress to blend into the background because you hate the idea of standing out and being noticed because you're embarrassed about your appearance or your size or whatever it is? I'm just picking from the long list of things that I've heard from thousands of people over the years. So, redefine was the word I was looking for. Redefine your idea of living. You need to change your idea of living because you think you are, but you're not. Because if you are unhappy, if you're miserable, if you are down about your weight and your appearance and all those things, then you're not living. Like, you only think you are. You're living what you think living is supposed to look like, and it's having a negative effect on you. So redefine your idea of living. And start living at a healthy weight. Start living at a comfortable weight. Start living in a way that has you waking up actually feeling good about the day ahead, not dragging your arse out of bed because you're still bloated and sluggish from all the eating you did the night before, or you're hungover still on a Monday because you've got a 2-day hangover from weekend antics. The thing is, it's all good and well me saying these things because I've lived through it. I did all that stuff. I thought I was living. Then I realised I wasn't. We all have to get there in the end. Like, I don't expect people to listen to this and all of a sudden start making absolute massive changes to their life. But the idea of these words is to show you that as a 39-year-old man, a father of 2, married for many years, a business owner, I can look back now and realise how much my idea of living held me back. Like, I could have been 5 or 6 years further ahead by now. In many different ways, business-wise, financial-wise, health-wise, blah, blah, blah. But I don't regret it, because you have to live through these things. Not necessarily to make mistakes, but to live through them, to experience them. Do you know, my sons were talking to me about beer the other day. They're 6 and 10. What does beer do, Dad? So I had to try and explain. And, you know, there's a part of me that says, you know, you could help these boys skip ahead light years in their life by telling them just to never drink. Like, you could try and teach that and encourage it. But it's not the right thing to do, is it? Like, I had to go through that. I had to make my mistakes. All you can do is be there to support them through the things and make sure they're doing it in the best and most sensible way possible. But sometimes we have to live through the thing to experience it, to then realise that it's something that needs to change. And sometimes living through having weight problems, living through having health problems, like the amount of people who come to work with me who have, you know, they're in their 40s, approaching their 50s, they have had 20, 30 years to make changes. And it has taken a diagnosis to make them finally take it seriously. You know, sat across from a table from a doctor telling you that you're going to have to start injecting yourself with insulin. You've almost developed type 2 diabetes. Like, are you ready to start changing now? Sometimes we have to live through the things to experience them, to make us realise that something needs to change. Like, it's not enough for someone to say, by the way, don't do this. And if you don't do this, then this won't happen. It's different for you because you've experienced what it's like to be overweight, to have a health scare, to be in debt, to drink alcohol, to have hangovers, all this stuff. Anyway, that's enough from me. Until next time.